And now we're going to learn how to do a basic dialogue editing scene for a movie with Premiere. I'm going to launch Premiere. And this is what's going to look like. We're going to go new project. Now you've already downloaded the footage. It's the Cowboys project. Okay, so we're going to go to that same folder where you downloaded it to. We're going to browse to it. And it went to the downloads folder, and here's the Cowboys. So we're going to click on that folder, but not go inside of it, and choose that folder. And we're going to name the project Cowboys Edit. Okay, and then we're going to click OK. And now this opens up. Now yours might look a little different than mine. I just arranged this because I like the media window here, the project window, to be taller, so when my footage is in there I can see more of it. Yours may have this down here in this little area just shorter, with this window wider. I'm in the edit mode here, but I've set this up to be a little bit more useful in my way of doing things. If yours is looking differently, the only difference really is that this little window's shorter here and this one's wider, so don't worry about that. Other than that, it's pretty much all the same. So we're going to import the media. Now you can double click or right click. For those of you that little mouse challenge, we're going to go File, Import, and we're going to go to the Downloads folder where we downloaded the file, and we're going to click on the Cowboys folder, and then inside of it here there's the media folder. And we're going to click on that. We're not going to go inside of it. We're going to just click right here. And we're going to import the entire folder in. And then we're going to just hit what I call the little flippy triangle, because when you click on it, it flips down. See, it's pointing down now, and then you see the media inside. Now, there is a script that's available that I have sent with the package for download, and I'm going to just show you that briefly here. I'm going to hit Command H to hide, and I'm going to go out here to the hard drive and go to the downloads folder and go to Cowboys, and here's the script. I'm just going to double click it to open it. And I'm going to open with, I think we got to open it with Word. So you have to have Microsoft Word to open this thing. Now, a lot of times our editing teachers don't like to give you a script, which I don't really agree with sometimes, but I don't know anybody who edits a movie without using the script. But a lot of times they just give you the footage, and I'll show you how to do that too. But here it just lays out the script, which tells you it's in the interior hotel day, gives a brief scene description where the sheriff is tied up on the bed, and Gordon McAllister it comes in and starts talking to him, and then here's the dialogue that they go back and forth. Okay, and you can read through this script and sort of figure out what's going on in the scene. I'm not going to do this as part of the video. I'm just telling you it's available for you to go through. Okay, you do have to open the file using Microsoft Word. Okay, so I'm going to quit out of Word, and I'm going to go back to Premiere. I'm going to close this window too. I'm going to go back to Premiere, and so one way of going through it without reading a script, if you're not given a script, is to look for the master shot. Now, hopefully they've been labeled. If they're not labeled, you have to kind of go through these and see what they are, because when a movie is shot, you get what's called master and coverage. Now, master will be, this is like the whole scene. You go through the whole scene like this. Okay, and then there's individual shots. Like there's the individual shots of this guy, and there's the individual close-up shots of this guy. Okay, and then there's a second take of this guy not doing all the stuff that he did, but just the end part, because they screwed that up, so they had to redo that end part. Now there's some scenes of horses going. We're not going to use that, and there's also some punch sound effects and some music and stuff, and think about credits. We're not going to get into that, but let's go through and watch the master so we get a feel for what the entire production is looking like. So let's just take it back here to 0 and just play. Now you're going to hear the slate clap, so you're going to hear a click, and then you're going to hear the director say "Action, gentlemen." And we're not going to worry about all that now, but just be aware of editing those things out when you're actually doing the editing. But we're just going to use this to watch the entire master scene. So let's take a look.
Action, gentlemen.
I'm back. Sorry about this, but I got a lot at stake. I made a mistake, but I came back to set things straight.
Just let me up, you son of a thief.
I need to know if I can get a fair trial in Texas. Can I? Can I?
Austin's changed since you were there.
Better or worse?
I wouldn't turn you over to a court that's bought and paid for if that's what you're worried about.
I need to know if I can get a fair trial.
Yeah. That's no guarantee you'll get off.
I know that. You gotta give me a couple hours to get my things together. Come pick me up at my ranch, 2 miles west of town.
You a rancher?
A lot of things about me you don't know.
Court. 2 hours. That's all you've got.
Got it, asshole.
All right. I think it's funny. He calls him an asshole there. It's pretty funny. But here's a scoop. Okay, so we're going to use this master shot first because up to the point where the guy who's just getting up off the bed says a lot of things have changed since you've been there. There is no coverage shots, so there's no close-ups at all until that part of the scene. So we're going to lay in the master shot from that part. So what you do is you hear the slate and the guy calls marker and clicks the slate, and then you wait till you hear the director say action, and then you stop it and you mark in. Now the buttons you're going to use are the space bar is play, and if you hit it again it'll stop it. So the space bar is play and stop. I is mark in on the keyboard. O is mark out. You mark I where you want a piece of video to start, and you mark O where you want it to stop. So if you want a chunk of video, you mark in when you want it to start, you mark I, you play it until you want it to stop, and then you mark O on the keyboard. Then to edit it down onto the timeline, you hit the period key, and that puts it down. Now if you make a mistake, it's Control Z on a Windows machine, and it's Command Z on a Mac. Okay, and the only other keys you want to use are the left and right arrow keys. So locate them on your keyboard, and that brings you back 1 frame at a time or forward 1 frame at a time. Left arrow key goes back 1 frame at a time as you tap it, and goes forward if you tap the right arrow key 1 frame at a time as you tap it. So as this little thing tells you here, it says drop media here to create a sequence. Now we're going to use this first. You have to use the piece of video. You can't use audio. And you drop it down there to make all the settings go right. If you use just audio, it'll set it up for the audio, but it will ignore the video. So when you go to edit, it's going to be all screwed up. So you have to use a piece of video to create the sequence. But this is also not going to be our first shot. So we're just going to drop it down here, and it's going to create a sequence, as this says. And then here's the sequence here. See the different icon? It has the same name as the clip that was used to make it. So we don't want that. So we're going to click here, and we're going to type Cowboys Edit, and then hit the return key on Mac or enter key on PC to lock it in. Okay, so that's our sequence. And also this is not our first shot, so we're going to click on it and hit delete on the keyboard. So let's go to we've already got our master shot line in here, so let's go all the way back to 0. Remember, we're going to hear the slate clap, you're going to hear a loud click, then you're going to hear the director call action, and you're going to hit the space bar to stop it after the word action, and hit I to mark in to start the clip right there. So let's watch it. Space bar to start.
Action, gentlemen.
Stop it with the space bar, mark I. Now play until he gets up off the bed and says a lot of things have changed since you've been there.
I'm back. Sorry about this, but I got a lot at stake. I made a mistake, but I came back to set things straight.
Just let me up, you son of a thief.
I need to know if I can get a fair trial in Texas. Can I? Can I?
Austin's changed since you were there.
And when he cracks that whip kind of sound. Let's go ahead and mark O for out right there. Now this is very important. We got to make sure that the video tracks are lined up. We can turn off the A2 and A3 track. There's no A2 and 3. This video 1 has to line up with this video 1. Sometimes it's up here. Sometimes it's in the wrong spot. Sometimes it's turned off. If that's not on and lined up with this, no video will come. Same thing with the audio. Sometimes this is turned off. Sometimes this is up here and this is turned off. You got to make sure that the V1's lined up with this and the A1 is there and not down here, that it's there and lined up, and that these are also on. So these 4 tracks need to line up with each other and be on. You want your playhead all the way back at 0. You've already marked in and out to say what piece of this you're going to use. Now click in this window, so this is the active window, and hit the period key on your keyboard. So now that's your first shot. Now as soon as you make every edit, 2 things happen. First of all, the playhead is Premiere, when you do an edit, puts the playhead right in the perfect space for the next edit. So go ahead and mark I on the keyboard to mark in, and then save. On a PC it's Control Z, on a Mac it's Command Z to save. Okay? So now let's go get the next shot, and the next person who speaks is Gordon. So let's use Gordon take 1. Okay, and we're going to see the slate. We're going to hear the slate, and when the director calls action, you're going to stop it using the space bar and mark in. So space bar to play, and you're going to stop after the director calls action.
Action.
Stop it right there with the space bar, mark in with the letter I. Now all he says is better or worse. Then you stop it and mark out with the letter O.
Better or worse?
Stop it, mark O for out, and then period key. And then as soon as it puts the edit down here, hit I to set the next edit point and save. Command S or Control S on them if you're on Windows. Okay, now you're ready for the next one. Now we're going to go to Brady's close-up. Okay. Now, every time you're editing dialogue, the actor who's not on camera goes ahead and says his line so the other actor has something to play against. So you're going to hear the other actor say better or worse. Okay. So once you hear him say better or worse, that's where you stop it with the space bar and mark in at that point. So you're going to hear the slate. You're going to hear the director call action. You're going to hear the other actor who's not on camera talk. After he says his line, better or worse, you're going to stop it and mark in. Let the other actor say his line and then mark out. Watch.
Mark.
Right there, mark in after action. Mark I for in. Now play it, and he's going to say,
Better or worse?
oh, right there, mark in after better and worse.
I wouldn't turn you over to a court of law that's bought and paid for if that's what you're worried about.
Stop it right there, mark out. Period key. Okay, now immediately it's in the right spot. Mark I for in and save. Command S or Control S. Okay, now go get Gordon. Now, to keep having to fish out which one you're using back here every time and losing track of that, Premiere helps you by, if you click these little lines up here, and you got to have a mouse to do this with, it remembers what shots you've used. Okay, so it remembers that you used Brady take 1. So you can go back to Gordon take 1 right here instead of going through all these different shots. So here's Gordon take 1. Now you're going to hear him say, the other actor who's not on camera, you're going to hear him say, I wouldn't turn you over to a court of law that's bought and paid for if that's what you're worried about. Now after he finishes worry about, you're going to stop it and mark in right there, and then this actor is going to say his line.
I won't turn you over to a court that's bought and paid for if that's what you're worried about.
Stop it, mark in,
I need to know if I can get a fair trial.
right there, mark out, and period key to overwrite. Mark in for the next shot and save. Command S or Control S. Okay. Now we're going to switch back to the other actor. Instead of fishing around over here, just come up to these little lines. Go back to Brady here. Now you're going to hear him say, I need to know if I can get a fair trial. So let him say that and then mark in.
I need to know if I can get a fair trial.
Stop, mark in. And he says, yeah, but that doesn't mean you're going to go free.
Yeah. There's no guarantee you'll go free.
Stop it, mark out. Period key to overwrite. Immediately mark in down in the timeline. Save, Command S or Control S. Now let's go back to the next guy. Back to Gordon take 1. you're gonna hear him say, that doesn't mean that doesn't guarantee your go free. And then after he says that, he's gonna say, I know that.
Yeah. But that's no guarantee you'll get off.
Right there, period.
I know that. Look, Grady, I need a couple hours to get things in order. Come pick me up out at my ranch, 2 miles west of town.
And when he's done with 2 miles west of town, you mark out, and you put it in there with the period key. You hit the I to mark in and save, Command S or Control S. Now, you're going to hear the other guy. When you switch to Brady, you're going to hear him say that whole bit about come pick me up 2 miles west of town, and that's where you're going to stop it and mark in. So space bar to play.
I know that. Look, Grady, I need a couple hours to put some things together. Come pick me up out at my ranch, 2 miles west of town.
Stop it right there, mark in, and he says, you, a rancher?
You? A rancher?
Stop it right there, mark out, period key, I key to mark in for the next shot, and save, Command S. Now he's going to answer him back. Now, we can't use Gordon take one close up here for the next shot because he goes out and opens the door and they mess up that part. So we have to use Gordon take 2 for that. Now, you would have had to watch the footage and realize that's what happened and realize you have to go to a different take once you see him screw up the door opening part, okay, because it doesn't match the master shot. But let's go ahead and go to Gordon take 2 now, okay, and we're going to go through all of this. Let's see what we got here.
Action.
Look, Grady,
Okay, so it says, when he says,
I need a couple hours to put some things in order. Come pick me up out at my ranch, 2 miles west of town.
now Grady's going to say, you, a rancher, and that's where you stop it and mark in.
You a rancher?
Right there. And he says,
A lot of things about me you don't know.
and you're going to stop it right when he starts to open the door. Right there. Mark out. Period key to write it in there. I to mark it. Control S or Command S. Now we're going to cut back to Brady's close-up. Oops, sorry. Right here. Brady's close-up. And we're going to hear him say, a lot of things about me you don't know.
A lot of things about me you don't know.
And then he's going to the door, and when he kind of turns down, and he's going to call his name.
Gordon.
Let's back it up with the left arrow key. Right before he says Gordon.
Gordon.
And then mark out. Period key to lay it in. Mark in. Save. Command S. Pretty soon you'll get used to just hitting these keyboards without having to think about it. Now we're going to cut back to Gordon take 2. And Gordon's going to turn. And as soon as he turns, but you don't want to let the punch come in there yet. So we've already sort of got, let's mark in here. And then, okay. So right after he says Gordon,
Gordon.
right after you hear Gordon, you mark in. Now he's going to turn, but don't let the fist come in there. See, the fist is in there. Let's use the left arrow key. Right before the fist comes in there, we're going to mark out and hit the period key to put it in. Hit the I key for the next edit and save, Command S. We're going to go back to Brady and let him start the punch, but don't finish it. So we mark in right here. Right here. Let him start the punch, but don't finish it. It's kind of about halfway through the punch. Mark out. Period key. Very quick shot there. Mark in. Save. Command S. Now we're going to go back to Gordon take 2. He's going to take the punch. So right here, mark in. Looks up like, what the hell did you just do to me? Stop right there. Mark out. Save. Mark in. Switch back to Brady, who says 2 hours. That's all you've got.
2 hours. That's all you've got.
Stop, mark out, period key, mark in, save, Command S. Cut back to Gordon take 2. And you hear him say 2 hours, that's all you've got. And then
2 hours. That's all you got.
and stop it here, mark in, and just let him walk out of the frame. And that's it. And cut out that little piece. I'm using the left arrow key to cut out that little piece of the director is about to say, and cut it. So, okay. So there, and put that shot in there. Now let's save the whole thing. Okay, now let's just watch it. Let's go all the way back to the beginning. Now you can watch it a couple times, you know, before you actually complete it. But let's go ahead and watch it. So I just brought it back all the way to 0. I'm just going to hit the space bar and let's watch the whole thing. Remember, there's no covered shots. This is all the master shot until right here, and then it becomes the close-ups all the way through.
Warren!
I'm back. Sorry about this, but I got a lot at stake. I made a mistake, but I came back to set things straight.
Just let me up, you son of a...
I need to know if I can get a fair trial in Texas. Can I? Can I?
Austin's changed since you were there.
Better or worse?
I wouldn't turn you over to a court of law that's bought and paid for if that's what you're worried about.
I need to know if I can get a fair trial.
Yeah. There's no guarantee you'll go free.
I know that. Look, Grady, I need a couple hours to get things in order. Come pick me up out at my ranch, 2 miles west of town.
You? A rancher?
A lot of things about me you don't know.
Gordon. Oh. 2 hours. That's all you got.
Okay, so let's save again just for good measure. Control S. Now I'm just going to show you a couple things about how to fix this dialogue. It's very noisy. So we're going to select everything. We're just going to click in here and do, it's Control A on a PC or Command A on a Mac to select the whole thing. See how it's selected? Now we're going to get off editing over here and we're going to go to audio. Okay, now it's switched pretty quick. Sometimes it takes a little longer to switch to that interface. And we're going to go to edit. See, we're on browse over here. We're going to go to edit. And we're going to use the preset for dialogue. So we're going to tell it to be dialogue here. And then on the preset, we're going to tell it to clean up noisy dialogue. Okay. And so when we do this, you're going to see it's going to take out a lot of that buzzing sound.
I made a mistake, but I came back to set things straight.
Just let me up, you son of a...
See, so all of that buzzing that was there before is
Court of
gone.
law that's bought and paid for if that's what you're worried about.
I need to know if I can get a fair trial.
So the dialogue cleaned up rather nicely. So let's save that Command S or Control S on a PC. Let's switch. Now we're going to do a little trick because this whole thing's dark. Okay, the whole thing's still selected. Let's go to color. And we're going to go to basic correction. And I guess we can't do it to the whole thing. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to each clip. So we're going to click on each clip and just select this one. And notice when each clip we can add it. So here's what it looks like if it's all closed up. Just click on basic correction. And all we're going to do is we're going to hit auto. And that fixes a little bit. Then we're going to go over to the arrow keys again. This time we're going to hit the down arrow key and hit auto. And the down arrow key and hit auto. The down arrow key, just keep going. Down arrow key, auto. Down arrow key, auto. Down arrow key, auto. Down arrow key, auto. Just keep doing that until you get all of the little shots. Now they're all corrected. Command S. Okay, let's go back to editing. And now we're going to export it. Okay, so with this window selected, you're going to come up to File, Export Media. Okay, and that's going to launch Media Encoder. When Media Encoder pops up, you're going to come down to the bottom of this window with the video in it, and you're going to tell it to be entire sequence. Okay, if this doesn't already say Format H.264, you can click on this menu and search for it. They're in alphabetical order. There's H.264. the preset should be. This is the one at the very top. It's called Match Source High Bitrate. Now the output and name is what you've named it. Now we already named the sequence Cowboy Edit, but if you forgot to do that and it just says sequence 1 or sequence 2 or something, you can change it at this point. Just click on it. Now we already correctly named it Cowboy Edit, so that's fine. So let's go to the downloads folder where our media folder is. Click on that one so we can tell it that that's where we're going to export it to, and we're going to hit save. So that tells it where to go. So this tells it what to be, that we're taking the entire sequence, we're naming it Cowboys Edit, and we're outputting it to that Cowboys folder. And then all you do is hit export. Now I'm not going to sit the video here while this thing takes 2 or 3 minutes to render out, so I'm just going to cancel this. But that's pretty much how you do a basic edit in Premiere Pro. It's just the IO keys, the space bar, the period key to overwrite, Control Z or Command Z if you make a mistake. And if you need to edit one way or the other, you can use the arrow keys. Okay, that's it.